Now we're going to have a wonderful powerhouse speaker, London Fletcher. She's the world's youngest member of the Society of Marine Mammalogy.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
How do you turn this off?
Just hold it.
Oh, I'll just hold it. Sorry, guys. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is London Fletcher. I'm a Washington State native, president and founder of the Blue Advocates Group, responder for the Watka Marine Mammal Stranding Network, and a research assistant at Orca Research Trust in New Zealand. I come to you again today on behalf of the critically endangered southern resident killer whales of the Salish Sea, the 700,000 people who have signed our petition to breach the lower four Snake River dams, and as the spokesperson of the generation who will inherit the problems stemming from the decisions you make today. Today we stand on the precipice of change. What change that is remains to be seen. Governor, when I last addressed you and your task force, I made a promise that my colleagues and I would meet you in your courts, your legislative halls, and executive chambers, and I told you that I would not come alone. Today, I am once again making good on my promise, and as you all can see, I have not come alone. Today, we are the voices of the voiceless. As we stand face to face with evil and look extinction in its horrific eyes, I am reminded of the words of the great John F. Kennedy. He said, "We chose to go to the moon in this decade and to do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and to measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win." Mr. Governor, these words ring true today, 56 years, 2 months, and 6 days after they were first uttered. And they will ring true today, tomorrow, and forever. Mr. Governor, you have heard from over 700,000 of your constituents who are unwilling to postpone the removal of the lower four Snake River dams. Indeed, we have asked you to do not what is easy, but what is hard and what is just. Not because it is the easy thing to do, but because it is the right thing to do. We can no longer wait for the gears of bureaucracy. Today we are galvanized by these words. Our future can no longer be beholden to the mistakes of the past. Mr. Governor, in your inaugural speech, you said you want to reinvest ourselves in our future and in our children's future. To do these things, we must act in a bipartisan way. You said that our core mission is serving the people of Washington. Every single thing we do should reflect that mission. Well, the people of Washington have spoken, and you're right, it's time to remember who we are as a state. I too see the greatness of the state, and I feel it, I believe it. It's who we are. Now I must ask, who are we as leaders? Is your administration going to be remembered as the orca killers? Or the ones who stopped the relentless march of extinction in its tracks and set sail on a course towards a brighter future? A future where the Puget Sound and the Columbia Basin are rich with life and megafauna, like the southern resident killer whales. A tomorrow where they swim and forage with their families in abundant waters, free from starvation and famine. I ask again, what legacy will you leave behind for my generation? Will it be a legacy of crippling debt? Will it be a legacy of mass extinction in barren waters? Or will it be a legacy of hope and prosperity? Will you be the ones to break the cycle and be the ones who stood for what is right? Or will you be remembered as Orca Killer Inslee? The legacy you leave behind will be defined by your bravery or by your cowardice. That choice is yours to make, Governor. I would also like to echo the words of Ken Balcom. Frankly, I am embarrassed for the governors and participants of the Orca Task Force who had to endure blatant and ill-informed political manipulation of a process launched with the good intention of doing something bold to help the southern resident killer whales. The laundry list of recommendations and the quote-unquote bold last-minute introduction and passage of the wording, proposing a meaningless moratorium on a benign activity while skirting the major problem for these whales. Salmon populations crashing throughout their range is appalling. Honestly, it was crushed by politics and vested interests, even within the agencies whose responsibility it is to manage natural resources sustainably. The whales are on their own in their downward spiral towards extinction, along with the natural wild runs of Chinook salmon that we used to call king. To find the root causes of this devious manipulation, one has to simply follow the money. First, look at the BPA Columbia Basin Fish Accords for clues. Then, look at the industries that have prevented and are preventing natural salmon recovery. Such words ring true today and should haunt those who serve on the Orca Task Force. Governor, I implore you to do what is right, and your grandchildren will be able to say, on this day, my grandfather stood for what is just and what is right. Today, I am young, and life is long, and my purpose is clear. The days of killing our rivers, streams, fish, and precious southern resident killer whales are numbered, and I will never give up this fight. Today, I make good on my pledge to fight for the orca, and I hope that you stand with folks like myself and those you see before you today on the steps of our state capitol who come to beg for the lives of these precious animals. Captain Paul Watson said, "To be responsible for an extinction is to commit blasphemy against the divine. It is the greatest of all possible crimes, more evil than murder, more appalling than genocide, more monstrous than even the apparent unlimited perversities of the human mind. To be responsible for the complete and utter destruction of a unique and sacred life form is arrogance that seethes with evil, for the very opposite of evil is live. It is no accident that these two words spell out each other in reverse.
Get it, girl.
Mr. Governor, the evil of extinction and extermination of a noble and sentient family of whales, unlike any other in the world, is upon you. The entire world is watching. Do the right thing."
Yeah!